Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks postgame show. The Hawks lose 3-2 in overtime to the hated, crappy, jerky, ugly, smelly St. Louis Blues. We're going to get to all of it. Make sure you do us a favor and smash that like button for us. Podcast listeners, follow, rate, subscribe, review, all that good stuff. We're going to give you our 4-star nominees of the game here coming up in a moment. Get your votes in there if you see it on the YouTube already. We're going to share the Who's Your Hawk winner. Got a lot to get to in this one, a lot to talk about. We do appreciate everybody being here. So, again, Hawks lose 3-2 to the Blues. Started off with a 2-0 lead, first period goals from Philipp Kurashev, assisted by Taylor Hall and Isaac Phillips. Then Pat Maroon get on the board, assisted by Hall, and then Philipp Kurashev with a secondary assist. And then the Blues score a pair of goals in the third, Dylan Holloway and Nathan Walker. And then Dylan Holloway again in overtime. That's the game winner. So, fellas,
they
as we do, yeah, that was. Let's start there because that was weird. I mean, the St. Louis announcers, when they weren't talking about fishing, were talking about how there's no replay in preseason and they don't know how this goal gets overturned. And then all of a sudden, the goal is overturned. So, help me understand.
Well, it wasn't even like the goal was overturned. I don't.
Yeah, they said the call on the ice is good goal, and
yeah,
the referee was
saying no goal. If this game mattered, I'd be up in arms right now, because that was so BS. Like I don't know. You have 3 different camera angles that don't show you anything. Like unless the linesman saw it with and there's no other camera angle that you could use. I don't know how that's a goal outside of Walker pushing Mrazek into the net. Like it was very confusing. So yeah, wonderful that stupid goal sent us to overtime in the preseason. And then I apparently wore the wrong sweater tonight. I apologize to everybody.
Your fault, Mario.
Yeah, Wisconsin letting me down in more than one way tonight.
I would have thought you would have taken that off after they blew that lead earlier today.
Yeah, I should just burn every pair of Wisconsin clothes I have at this point. They let me down so much. But yeah, I mean it sucks. I mean you get some momentum going in this preseason where we talked about it before the game. Like this lineup was just like not the best that they could ice.
No,
but they came out and they were playing well, and you got out to a 2-0 lead. It's Taylor Hall was great tonight, and after he had a maintenance day, which has kind of become a 4-letter word for the Blackhawks this preseason. He comes back in and has an awesome game, primary assist, and you feel really good. And then you just. One goes in off of Louis Crevier, one goes in, quote unquote, and then you lose an OT. It really stinks. Like if this was a game where you're in the regular season and 2 points in the standings matter, and you don't feel good coming away with 1 point, because this is a game that, man, it's just you feel like you should have won.
Yeah. On the plus side, if this was regular season, there'd be some actual camera angles. Replay that they could do. It was, if you haven't been to training camp, any of the practices over the past few days, I know you're really going to struggle in believing when I tell you that the Blackhawks have not practiced any kind of overtime 3-on-3 hockey yet, because by God, they were lost defensively. Like they were just like, I don't know who to cover. I'm just going to stand there and hope Peter makes the save.
Yeah, there's literally a moment where Frank Nazar was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. He really went like palms up in the defensive zone. Like, I don't know who to cover here.
In that
so I'm
case,
just going to stand somewhere.
just find a blue shirt and stay with them.
Right.
Like, don't stand there and do nothing. So I would imagine when they get back on the ice Monday, there might be some 3-on-3 practicing going on, or at least, and Monday should have a smaller group, down to one group. We're going to get some more. There were some roster cuts today before practice. A lot of the Ice Hogs went back to Rockford, and Nick Lardis was returned to Brantford, where he went and scored some goals and did some stuff.
He did Nick Lardis things.
Yeah, I mean, he went back to being Nick Lardis, dominator of the Ontario Hockey League. So I would assume tomorrow, off day, no skating, no practice. Some guys are going to get some news that they're not making the opening night roster, and then you'll be able to do some more specific practices, overtime, special teams.
Yeah,
guys that it's going to be useful with. You're not going to practice 3-on-3 overtime with guys aren't playing on this team this year. So hopefully they work on that, because it was pretty lousy. But I know we like to start with takeaways, positives. Listen, guys who are going to matter all season long looked good. Taylor Hall looked good. Philipp Kurashev looked good. Patrick Maroon had a really nice game. Peter Mrazek has been really, really good this preseason. That's the key here. Kevin Korchinski, Alex Vlasic, we'll get into the defense as a whole. Very aggressive, shooting the puck. I love to see that. More of that for all 82 games, please. So final score doesn't matter. Sure, you would have liked to win, but the guys who played tonight that will be here all season, they all looked good, and that's encouraging.
Yeah, I feel like we have to do this for some reason every preseason game and remind people that this is not the Blackhawks lineup. I've seen some comments that are like, this team's really better than last season. Yes, because Brett Seney and Cole Gutman and Louis Crevier and Isaac Phillips, and these guys are not going to be every night contributors. And as much as I love Samuel Savoie, he was my pick for 4-star of the game. He's not going to be an NHL player yet. Like, this is...
Frank Nazar is not going to be an NHL player yet.
Yeah, and I know. All right, we got to stick with the positives. We're going to stay positive and get to it. I know, but the temptation's there.
Yeah.
Here's how I'm going to spin a positive, though. I feel very happy that we live in Chicago and our broadcast teams are good, because the last few nights have been absolutely horrible. Just like college level grab-assery. And I know, like, Eddie and Pat had their moments where games would get boring and they would talk about soft serve ice cream or golf. Like, I get that when the time calls for it, right? Yeah. Like, if it's 5-0 or nothing's going on, like, fine. Oh my God, I can't wait to hear Rick Ball. I can't wait to hear Darren Pang. I was trying to sync up Weideman and Murray, but I couldn't make it happen.
What I did. That's what I did.
God, thank God we live in the third market, honestly, because you hear when you get to some of these middle market cities like Detroit and St. Louis.
I think those were the St. Louis radio guys that we were subjected to.
Well, they never identified themselves, which is always a
Joe
good thing to do when you're a
Vitale
broadcaster.
is the analyst, and the play-by-play guy was the same guy that worked the prospects game. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but he was the same announcer. But I streamed WGN. I listened to John and Troy and Jack Heinrich doing the studio work. It took a little while to get it working right, because the radio stream was like a minute and a half behind the visual stream. So it took, and then there were a couple of times where my video stream lagged. So then I had to reset it. But it was worth it, because for the first 2 minutes when I listened to the Blues guys, I was like, nope, we got to get WGN up in here.
Yeah.
It took the play-by-play guy a full period to realize that it wasn't Taylor Hall that scored, that it was Philipp Kurashev that scored. So that was fun. All right, let's get to what matters.
Details.
Our 4-star nominees for this game, all 3 stars were Blues, so who cares? Philipp Kurashev, who had a goal, an assist, and 3 shots on goal, played 20-58. Taylor Hall, 2 assists, 3 shots, 2 more shot attempts, and Peter Mrazek, who's up 31-34. All good candidates. Get your votes in. We'll reveal the winner at the end of the game. But I do feel a little bit yucky to not include Kevin Korchinski in this list. Kevin Korchinski played 26-24, had 2 shots on goal and 6 more shot attempts and a block shot. Kevin Korchinski looks good. I don't care what the blue lines say. I haven't looked at him yet.
He's right in the middle.
He's assertive. He is shooting the puck. He is confident on his skates. I love the way he's played in these last 2 games. And I know last night the blue lines or purple lines, whatever they are, said that he just got housed, but the Hawks got housed and he was on the ice for like the whole game again. Yeah. So I think that Korchinski's looked really good. And we talk about this all the time. You get an opportunity. Wyatt Kaiser has not been practicing. And that was the guy who a lot of people thought if Korchinski wasn't going to make the team, Kaiser would. I think Korchinski is doing a really good job in solidifying his spot on this roster opening night. He's been solid.
26-24 of ice time leading all Blackhawks tonight.
50 minutes of ice time in the last 2 days. In the last 24 hours, he's played 50 minutes of NHL hockey.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Wyatt Kaiser probably would have played 1 or 2 of these 3 games had he not gotten hurt in practice. And we asked Luke Richardson this morning at the Fifth Third Arena before they all got on the plane to St. Louis, and he just said no new update. So this is something a little more serious than just got banged up and needs a day off. It's terrible timing for him. But right now, Kevin Korchinski is one of the 5 best defensemen on this team. So while a stint in Rockford still might be a thing this year, if he has that, November comes and all of a sudden it's getting too fast for him, kind of like last year, like we saw with Kaiser at the beginning of the year last year, looked great, and then the league caught up to him and he needed an adjustment. Right now, Kevin Korchinski is in my opening night lineup in Utah. He has been those things that we've wanted to see more from him. He's doing it, and he's still got a lot of work to do.
Sure.
But you can't tell me he's not one of the top 6 defensemen on this team right now.
No, and look, I mean, like Evil Bills says that his passing decisions are a little bit questionable sometimes, and I think it was Lebowski 5 who said he was decent. His feet are too jumpy sometimes too. He's 20 years old. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, he's a young defenseman. He's not going to – very few guys are Cale Makar, right? So it's going to take him some time, but I think that I had 2 thoughts about Korchinski coming into the season. I thought he was going to be a little bit timid, knowing that Rockford was a possibility and not wanting to make a mistake, or that he would come out and assert himself. That's what he's done. I think Korchinski has really shown, you have to take this job away from me. I'm very comfortable here in Chicago. It's nice. There's more than one restaurant. I get paid a hell of a lot more when I play here. I'm not effing leaving yet. Yeah. So I love to see that, because one of the knocks on him last season from his teammates, from his coaches, was ramp up the intensity, kid. Like, we need you to hit people in front of the net. We need you to take the body. We need you to, playing physically, meaning tie up sticks, knock guys off the puck, that sort of thing. And we've seen it through 2 games. I don't want to overblow 2 preseason games, but he has been noticeable in these first 2 in a good way.
No, make your declarations, Jay. Kevin Korchinski, NHL All-Star. I mean, this was a lineup where he was probably looked at as like one of the guys expected to go out and contribute the most, because besides Alex Vlasic, he's the guy out there that had pretty much the most experience. So at the NHL level, so I came into this preseason and training camp saying Kevin Korchinski would have had to have played his way out of the NHL. He has not done it. He has not done that through these games. Like, he's definitely looked more comfortable, and aside from just zeroing in on the drop pass on the power play entry, for like, you cannot tell him to not do it. He had a great game, and I think this is the version of Korchinski we've all been hoping to see, and hopefully it translates to the regular season. Yeah, I have very little doubts that he's gonna start anywhere but in Chicago to start the year, and we talked about like his spot was like the one that was kind of like open. I don't think anyone besides him has played well enough to take that spot, and again, we haven't seen Kaiser at all. Ethan Del Mastro, I think, had a pretty good game tonight. Nolan Allen has had a really good preseason as well. But I just think Korchinski, they're giving him a lot of opportunity, a lot of responsibility, and he's played well.
All right, we got to hit the break zone here in a minute. Do us a favor. If you've not already done it, hit the like button. If you came in late and missed my little spiel to start the show, please do that. Hit the subscription button as well. Podcast listeners, follow, like, subscribe, all that great stuff. We'd appreciate that. 5-star reviews are wonderful. More of the positives on this Blackhawks 3-2 overtime loss coming up, and then there are some tough truths we have to face coming up a little bit later in the show. So stick around here on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast.
They say first impressions are important, but what about lasting impressions? That's where Blue Chew comes in. Blue Chew helps boost your confidence in the bedroom where you can stay hard and perform at your very best. Does Blue Chew work? Well, if you're asking that question, we want you to know that Blue Chew is putting their money where their mouth is and giving you a month for free.
Ooh.
Blue Chew is an online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but at a fraction of the cost, and it comes in a chewable form, hence the name. It's not Blue Swallow, it's Blue Chew. Careful. The process is simple. Sign up at bluechew.com. Consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. The best part, it's all done online. That means no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. You can take them anytime, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready whenever opportunity arises. So, I mean, you never know. It's all online where most of my love lives take place. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code ALLCITY at checkout, and you're just going to pay $5 for shipping. That's bluechew.com, promo code ALLCITY to receive your first month of Blue Chew free. Visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information, and we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast.
Yes, we do. And I'm all hot and bothered from that, and I need something to take the edge off. So I'm going to go visit my friends at Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, your home and mine, for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place for all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. I know that it can be intimidating going into a dispensary for the first time or the second time, or until you feel like you really know your stuff. You're not going to feel that way at Sunnyside. They are Illinois' favorite dispensary. They got locations in Wrigleyville and River North, Champaign, South Beloit, and more. If you're just getting started, they have experts that'll help you. If you're a pro, they've got over 100 strains available at a time. There's something there for everybody. Try my favorite brands, the Mindy's and the Good News. Absolutely love them. Absolutely rely on them daily. Visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Bright buys every day only for 21 plus or Illinois medical card holders. I know we have a couple super chats we want to get to. Actually, just one so far here from our buddy Windy City Hockey. He says you could have turned it into a drinking game when the St. Louis announcer talked about fishing. That was bad. Yes, that was not great. And Dom, we're going to save. We saw your comment on Frank Nazar. We're going to save it for the second half of the show. We'll get to it for sure. It's a good comment. We're definitely going to talk about that. So stay tuned.
There was a comment about Korchinski earlier. I think it was Larry saying, does he somehow look smaller this year than off season? And that's because he's wearing a smaller number.
That's what I said.
He would look a lot bigger if he was still wearing 55, but 14 has slimmed him down.
It's slimming. Yeah.
Maybe that's why I looked fat in college.
That's what it was.
Yeah, that's why.
That had to be why. If only I wore 14, damn it.
Yeah. Could have been quarterback and gotten all the chicks.
Yeah, right, exactly. Sure.
Yeah.
You want to hit up Blue Chew.
Well, you don't need it in college. Anyway, 14, terrible number. Don't wear it anymore. It's bad. It's not a defenseman's number.
That's I hate to say Chris Campoli, but
exactly, because he wasn't a defenseman despite playing the position.
That's what comes to mind. No, I mean the number changes I think work for him. He's looking good in the old 1-4 there. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, where are we going with this conversation?
Well, let's move on to some of the other candidates we had for star of the game. Mrazek, I think Mrazek's gotten to the point. We said this last year where you can just all right, he's fine. Good
Yeah.
job. Good game. Thank you. I want to talk about Taylor Hall because, again, he is the wild card to this season. And aside from a few whiffs, he whiffed on a one-timer, and he whiffed on a shot in close. That he might have had his stick tied up on that first one. But just, the skill is evident. And you see a lot of times, like, there's a shot on goal, maybe the puck goes behind the net, and then Cole Gutman or Brett Seney overskates it. Taylor Hall can immediately corral it, come out the other side with it, and make something else happen. Yeah. That kind of skill is rare. And when we talk about better players playing with Connor Bedard, that's what we're talking about. Connor Bedard snaps one off from, the slot. The goalie gets a piece of it, and it ricochets in a corner. And instead of someone losing a race to the puck or losing a battle or just straight up missing the puck, you've got someone with the ability, be it him, be it Tavo, be it Bertuzzi, be it whoever, to actually get it, corral it, and keep the thing going. And there were times in this game where we saw the Hawks with sustained pressure in the offensive zone. And it was almost always Taylor Hall or Philipp Kurashev or Ilya Mikheyev on the ice when that was happening. Pat Maroon as well did a good job controlling the puck. That's what bringing in more skill does. And it does. Your defense doesn't get burned out. Your offense has the puck, and it's all cyclical. And it's a good.
Yeah. Hall was everywhere tonight. Like I this is what we keep talking about with the, basically missing him all of last season. Like this is the kind of impact that he can have when he's feeling at 100%. And he wasn't 100% even in the 10 games that he played last season. Like he wasn't at 100%. And I think it's exciting to see him playing well through training camp and in these preseason games, and being able to kind of hit the ground running in the top six. And now this is going to be an improved top six than what was expected last year, where Hall was basically him and Bedard were the marquee guys. Now there's extra help within that top six, and I think tonight's evidence of what the Blackhawks were missing. I mean, he was third on the team in individual expected goals with a .36. He created 5 scoring chances on his own. And when he was on the ice at all strengths in today's game, he had a 14-5 shots for advantage, which was the highest on the team. Like that's all coming from natural stat trick. Like the impact that he can have, again, the rosters are not totally NHL caliber, but that is a glimpse of the impact that he can have when he's healthy and he's going.
He was, according to the Blue Lines, the highest rated player on the ice tonight. He had a 3.29 game score. Philipp Kurashev second, 2.86. And then the next 4 are Blues. And guess who was next for the Hawks? Ilya Mikheyev. Yeah. So, I mean, there you have it. I mean, I liked him, but he had a little edge to him today, too. We see him walking around the locker room. Mikheyev just kind of like very just level, not like super expressive and whatever. But, man, you saw him get pissed off in that game, and he is good with the puck, got a nice shot. I'm excited. Like, that's another guy who people might be sleeping on a little bit, including me.
Yeah, he looked good on that line. And, like, my favorite sequence with Taylor Hall tonight was, I think it was the second period, lifted Brendan Saad's stick and stole the puck from him, which is not easy to do. And then as he was racing down to try and get a scoring chance, Brendan Saad got back and did the same thing to him. Reminded me a little of the Datsuk Hossa. Not nearly as an important of a game or as cool, but it brought back memories to that where, like, whatever you do, you can do, I can do better. But that's the kind of stuff that Taylor Hall can do. And I liked Philipp Kurashev having a real nice game with Connor Bedard 300 miles north in Chicago, because a lot of people think, well, yeah, Philipp Kurashev had a career year only because he was playing with Connor Bedard for much of the year. Sure, that was a big factor in it, but it's nice to see him be one of the best players on the ice in a game that Connor Bedard is not even playing in. And I like Mikheyev on that line, but as I was watching that line play, I really think Mikheyev is going to start the year with Dickinson and Foligno. They've been practicing a lot, and that's going to be a really good.
That feels like a really good
third line.
Yeah.
That's like a damn good third line that can shut down your best team, your opponent's best line, and pop 40 to 50 goals as a line, maybe more.
That'd
You
be
know,
nice.
I mean, if they each get 14 goals, that's 48 goals. You know, that's almost 50 goals, right? Sure, something like that. Yeah.
42. Yeah.
So
15 apiece is 45.
there you go.
Take that.
Yeah, I mean, Dickinson had 20. I think Mikheyev can get you 16 to 18 goals, and then Foligno gives you his usual 13. You're right around that way. So as I'm watching that line, thinking, all right, Bedard, and it will likely be with Bertuzzi and Teravainen to start the season. That definitely feels like how it's going. And you'll have Mikheyev on that third line. Do you put Lucas Reichel where Mikheyev was playing with Kurashev and Hall? Like, if he can't do anything on that line, then it's time to say goodbye, I think. Like, I see Mikheyev, and I'm thinking that could be Reichel in the offensive zone. And if you've got a guy like Taylor Hall and Kurashev, both guys will go get the puck. Like, Reichel can just be the guy that just goes out there and tries to create a play. I mean, when we get to the last couple preseason games of the year where you're icing your opening night lineup, essentially, I give him a look at that line. I mean, he's got to be top 6 if he's going to be here, right? You can't put him on the fourth line. He does you nothing there. I mean, not that he's getting much anywhere else.
No, but
it's that or Rockford.
It's got to be a spot earned. It can't be, well, he can't play outside the top 6, so we're just going to stick him here. If he can't play in the top 6 and you can't play him and he's not a bottom 6 type of player, sorry, go be in the top 6 in Rockford. He's got to earn that NHL spot, and I think if he had a better track record coming off of last season, where you know it was the same last year. It was come in and earn a spot, and I mean, he played well through the preseason, and then it just did not translate to the regular season, and you know the wheels didn't start turning all last. Like, we kept waiting for it, and it just never happened consistently. So now he's coming in and he's got more to prove, honestly. So he's got to earn it. And I think it's if it's just, oh, we're just kind of pigeonholing him there because he has to be there. If he's not doing anything in the role, I'd rather try somebody else who can be effective.
I'm just thinking that's the best fit for him right now of all the other combinations, because him and Kurashev are
skill set wise, yeah.
And Kurashev and him are good buddies. They speak German to each other all day long. And then a guy like Taylor Hall, I think, can get more out of Reichel than, if you put him on a line with Anthony Ciu. Yeah, sure, they had good chemistry, almost 2 years ago now. But I think Taylor Hall, as a veteran, as a guy that's, as we saw tonight, can do the little things and knows how to play a 200-foot game and get to the smaller areas of the ice. I think he could, if he can't bring it out in Lucas Reichel, I don't think anybody's going to.
Yeah, and you're not going to put him with Bedard. Just to
no.
You can't start wasting resources to get Reichel going. I'm sorry, you can't bring down the team for it. And I don't know. I'm hopeful. I still have a little bit of thought that maybe he figures things out. And I don't want to judge too much on one preseason game where he did nothing, because Frank Nazar did nothing tonight in this preseason game. So, but we've got 4 years of him. How long is it? What year was he drafted, Reichel? 21?
20. He was in the 2020 draft.
So this is 4th year in the organization, right? This is where we should start seeing, and like what we said about Korchinski earlier, as he came into this camp and was like, F this, I'm taking a spot. Reichel's done the opposite. Even at practice, Reichel hasn't stood out in any way. He's out there, you see him, and he's fast and he's can move the puck. But as soon as the drills begin and the scrimmages happened, didn't flash in a scrimmage at all. He's not noticeable in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. I mean, he's had 2 full AHL seasons, and he's had almost full NHL season. And then, spot starts here and there in the NHL. I mean, it's starting to become a sample. 99 NHL games is not a small sample size anymore. I think he's got a lot to prove still. So you know, I like I said on I said it last night. I feel like he hasn't at the NHL level. He hasn't progressed beyond what he was. That first 12 games he played 2 years ago in the NHL. Like I feel like he hasn't added anything to his game besides what he initially brought in. So, you know, I get he's still young, but like if a guy's plateauing at 21 years old and this is it, it's not enough for what this team needs out of him.
All right, well, it sounds like we've transitioned to the concern segment of the show, so we're going to hit the break zone real quick here. Again, do us a favor. If you haven't hit that like button, please do so now. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube page as well. And, hey, tell a friend about us. Hey, I'm watching the Hawks postgame show right now. It's the only one in town. Tune in. Watch the rest of the show with us. It'll be great fun. Throw some chats in there. Throw some super chats in there, and we'll get to them as well. But first, this little timeout on CHGO Blackhawks.
And while we might have our concerns about some players on this team, what you will not have concerns about at all is the great Chevy that you're going to get from our friends at Ray Chevrolet this September. Because truck and SUV month is going on right now. Head in today and shop their huge selection of new Chevy models at new low prices. Right now, take $3,000 up to $12,000 off of MSRP on most new Chevy models, or you can cruise into fall your own way and shop over 125 of their vehicles priced under $20,000. As one of the top selling Chevy dealers in the Midwest, you'll always be able to shop one of Chicagoland's largest Chevy inventories. So visit our partners this September. You're running out of time, but this September at their location on Route 12 in Fox Lake, or you can go to raychevrolet.com. And if you've heard of Ray Chevrolet, then of course you've heard of the Ray Price Promise. They're guaranteed to make your next vehicle more affordable than ever with no price changing, no add-ons, and no hidden fees. That means the incredible prices that we're talking about right now, you can expect to see the very same when you shop Ray Chevy in store or online. So shop truck and SUV month all month long by visiting Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or raychevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. Together, let's drive.
And we know that Ray sells Hrems, and we love the Hrems that Ray sells, but we don't love the Hrems from LA. And they're coming in LA to Chicago tomorrow to face the beloved Chicago Bears. And you can join us at our official CHGO tailgate. It is the best in a damn city. Tickets are still available. I'm sure there's probably single digits left, but if you want to head to allchgo.com, click on our events tab and get your tickets, you can do so right now. And of course, if you're a diehard, you can save 20%. Jay, why do I want to come to a CHGO tailgate? Well, you get multiple beer options from Molson Coors. You get various food options from Firewater Barbecue. You have a full bar option available if you'd like.
Nice.
It's all inclusive. It's amazing. It's right there at the corner of Warbash and Cermak. I say Warbash like Coach Dicka says it. Don't judge me. And we've got them every home game. So make sure you go to allchgo.com. So if you can't come to this one, you can hit up the next one or the one after that or the one after that. It's a great time. It lasts, also important. You don't need a ticket to the game to go to the tailgate. No. You can just show up to the tailgate and then head on out in time and catch the game at a bar nearby or head home, whatever you're into. But head to allchgo.com to do that. And of course, diehard save 20% on this and all events.
Those tailgates are a good time. I need to get myself out to one before it's too cold.
Indeed.
Yeah, I was thinking about going tomorrow, but then I realized it's our only off day with no practices.
Yeah,
and it's been a long couple of weeks, so I'm gonna sleep in tomorrow.
Yeah,
good call.
Me too. All right, let's get to Frank Nazar here. We have a comment from our buddy Dom Cagney who says, "Can we attribute Nazar's struggles to playing with lesser talent with limited practice time in the preseason?" Maybe a little, right? Like he's not on Connor Bedard's line. He wasn't on a star-studded line tonight by any means. But what we're seeing from Nazar, to me, it's nothing concerning. It is what you would expect from a rookie player with 3 professional games under his belt, learning what works and what doesn't at the NHL level. And while we saw that last year with Connor Bedard also had generational talent that you could live with those mistakes. Frank Nazar is a really good prospect, unless you you're Corey Promen and disagree. But he's going to take some time, and he's going to learn. I can't make this pass, or I have to go in the corner and do this to win a puck at the pro level. And as we've been saying all preseason, he needs to leave no doubt. I don't think there's any doubt he's starting this year in Rockford.
Yeah, I think the lesson learning is going to continue, and it's best if it continues in Rockford this year, where they are built to do that. They're going to have a ton of rookies and second year pros with that Ice Hogs team, and Nazar is going to have the ability to play a prominent role down there, make some of these mistakes, but also not necessarily have to worry about, if you try a backhand sauce from the left wing to the right wing and it gets picked off and goes the other way, you're not going to make a butt imprint in the bench for the next 30 minutes of the game. You're going to go back out there and be like, okay, don't do that again. Try and make some better decisions next time with the puck. Like you don't have to worry about that at the NHL level. With the Ice Hogs, he's going to get the opportunity to make mistakes and learn from them. I think that's to be expected for a guy that's still a rookie. I know, he's a highly thought of guy, a lot of skill there. We saw it in those 3 games, but I come back to the notion that like he was coming into those last 3 games of the season, like at peak performance, from a highly successful season. So, it was a lot different than kind of like starting from, the starting line here in training camp and preseason. So he's had some flashes of some good stuff, but mostly it's been, it's given you the feeling that, he's going to have to go to Rockford and he's going to have to, work out some of get the junior out of him, as Derek King always says.
Yeah. I mean, Luke Richardson said it the other night about Nazar, and even Nazar himself kind of alluded to the same thing, where when he got here last year, he was riding high. He had an amazing season at University of Michigan, had the World Junior, like everything went right for him. He was probably the most confident he'd ever been as a hockey player. Steps in, scores on his first shot, all that stuff. Like he had the momentum, and to then have the season end and you go through the off-season training, it's hard to walk into a training camp with all that stuff still rolling. Like it's hard to build it up again, and that's what he's doing. Like he's starting from scratch this season. It's going to take some time to get that. There have been a lot of times he's been out there where, to steal that reference you use all the time, Jay, where you see a duck on the water and the duck is calm, but underneath that water, his feet are going a million miles an hour to just stay still. You're seeing a little bit of that. So some seasoning in Rockford. I think, even though we were hopeful we'd see Frank here from opening night, I think we all knew in the back of our mind that it was going to have to be an amazing preseason.
Yeah.
For him to make this team out of camp, and he needs some AHL time, which is not it's not a slam on him. It's not a criticism. It's not us saying, "Oh, Corey Promen was right, 14th ranked prospect, maybe." No, he needs to get that professional game going. You still see him trying to do that backhand pass across the ice, which is never going to work at this level. Like he needs a lot of seasoning still, and get him down in Rockford and see how it goes. There's going to be so many guys in Rockford that matter to the future of this organization. It's going to be an exciting season out there, and they have cup holders at the BMO Harris Center.
Yeah. We've buried the lead on this show.
Yeah.
So
cup holders at the BMO. How about
what's funny is my father-in-law was part of the company that built the United Center. Like he was into he's not an architect, but he's a contractor. Mm-hmm. And when we asked him about this last week, and he's like, kind of what we alluded to, where the seats are higher, like the person in front of you is lower than most people. So like you're at the United Center, the person in front of you, their head is probably like around your belly button. That means if you've got a cup and a cup holder, a woman with a ponytail's hair is probably going to be in your drink, right? If they like lean their head back, that sort of thing. So it's more of a building design thing rather than a We
Could
just
you
don't
put
want to
them
do a
on the
thing.
armrests? Extended the
They're
armrest and put like in a movie theater?
Well, I know you're a normal sized person, but a lot of people in Chicago are not. And
I guess,
I'll
yeah.
say, like, the more expensive the seat is at the United Center, the less room there is for a body like mine. So I would think that even space there could be at a premium. But if you were to have it, I think what you're saying is like extend out from the chair, so you've got your armrest here, and at the end of the armrest, a cup holder.
Yeah,
Why not?
it's like movie theaters.
I would imagine though it would be hard to get in and out of the aisles that way then, because it's pretty narrow as it is.
I mean, how big's a cup holder? I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it was considered. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Like I would think so, and I'm sure it's been discussed since, and they look at it and say, I don't think this is going to work, but I would prefer it.
Just replace all the seats in the United Center and rebuild them all. Make them the reclinable lazy boy chairs.
The Dream Lounger.
Put the speakers in the headset or in the headrest, so you can get the in-game audio right from your seat. Get a massage chair in there too.
Yeah, more fishing stories.
Perfect.
Right there, right in your head. They should do like the 4D thing though. So if a player like skates and shoots up some snow, you get a little bit of snow on you. You get a whole immersive.
If there's a big hit, your chair vibrates, and
And Adrian is in here asking, who cares about cup holders?
We do.
Every freaking show the chat talks about cup holders in the United Center.
We do.
Every show.
If no one speaks about the cup holders, we will speak about the cup holders.
We are the show for the common man, and the common
voice
man
for the
voiceless.
voiceless.
Every show. The cup holders.
It's also a preseason post-game show. Like, you want us to
they
break
lost in
down
overtime in preseason.
What did you think of Brett Sini's turnover in the third?
It looked very Rockfordian.
I really hope though they caught the sniper that took out Nolan Allen there late in the third period. Did you see
a little
that?
bit of a even though the Blues announcers like, oh, toe pick.
Yeah. It's like, oh boy.
Slippery. Taylor Hall was having trouble. I'm starting to think too, like the ice around the league isn't probably great yet.
No,
because it was just laid out. Like the United Center had a concert the night before the first game.
Yeah,
that ice was clearly messed up.
It's still warm in most places.
Humid.
By the way, I've been checking the weather for Salt Lake City because we're going to be there. Mm-hmm. It's been in the 90s there this week.
Don't they have like mountains with
Denver
snow?
has mountains. It was warm when we were there too. So
sweet.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Pack some shorts just in case.
Yeah. Can we wear them to the game?
Won't be as hot. Won't be as hot as Vegas. But
are shorts allowed in Salt Lake City? I don't know the rules.
They got to go past your knees.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fair. So I have a 28-inch inseam. So
get your what were those jeans that were like 5 feet wide?
Jenkos.
Jenko, yeah. Get your Jenko. Jenko shorts ready.
All right, well, people are mad at us, so let's get back to the.
Let's talk more hockey.
We did a little poo Pat Maroon today, and the Blues announcers actually had a pretty solid frame of reference because he was on the Blues and they won the cup, and they flat out said like, this is a guy who is not fast. That's very obvious. He's not fast.
Yeah,
but
is that breaking news?
I don't think so, but he's smart with his body. He knows how to use his leverage, use his positioning. He's got good hands. You can tell. Like when he has the puck, it is hard to take the puck from him. Even if you're a fast little, guy who's weaving in and out of traffic and you're shifty, like he is going to ward you off either by turning his back to you, very Hossa-esque in that way, not quite that good. Let's not go nuts, but you know what I'm saying? Using the body to keep the puck, and he also has better hands than I think he gets credit for. That goal was pretty quick. Like, that was a quick reaction shot that he had. Yeah,
I mean, he knows that he's not going to beat anybody with his feet, so he uses that big frame that he has to his advantage. And yeah, I mean, it's no surprise. I mean, every team that he's played for, the teammates rave about him, the people in the organization rave about him. Like it's no surprise that he was a big part of the Blues winning the cup in 2019, and yeah, I mean, him and Darren Pang in the locker room a couple days ago were talking for about a half hour, just shooting the stuff and making dinner plans and all that. Like he's a very well-liked person around the league, and he's got a wealth of knowledge. So not only, what he's going to do in the locker room and off the ice with the team is going to be important, but yeah, I mean, he might be a guy that, we've talked about fourth line, and maybe, him and Craig Smith and all these guys kind of rotate around. I mean, those two guys might be playing their way into, at least to begin the year, regular lineup spots, like not even rotating in and out. Like they might be like fourth line, third, fourth line, bottom six regulars to start the year, which would be cool. Like I mean, those are two guys that, you don't have to like squint hard to be like, should they be in the end? Like, no, those are bona fide NHL guys. Yeah. So it's an improvement. And yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of different ways Maroon can be used. Like he's not just like a bruiser that's only going to get 6 minutes a night. Like there's a little bit more to him than he gets credit for.
I was a huge fan of his game tonight. Awesome game for the big rig. And yeah, someone was asking earlier, is he going to be on the second power play unit? Yeah, probably. Why not?
Maybe. Yeah,
put him out there. Stand in front of the net, let pucks hit off you, do the Artem Anisimov special.
Hey, John Scott got power play minutes.
Yeah, I mean, he showed tonight that he knows what he can do with the puck if you give him the time and the space. It's going to be tough decisions for this coaching staff for that fourth line, because you have Craig Smith, who's been really good. Pat Maroon looked good tonight. You have Joey Anderson, who's looked pretty good, and we know Luke Richardson's a big fan. If Joey Anderson could just take faceoffs, he would be on this team. If Joey Anderson could win 47% of his faceoffs, he would be the fourth line center. He would never go back to Rockford. And you still have Ryan Donato. Not all those guys can play every night. So I'm interested to see if the LA Kings were looking for a fourth line center before, and then they signed Kelly Evan. I know he's not a center, but then he gets hurt. If I'm Kyle Davidson, I'm calling the Kings and say, what do you want to give me for Ryan Donato? He could be your fourth line center.
Yeah, he could be.
And then Joey Anderson stays on this team. And, you have Joey Anderson, Craig Smith, Pat Maroon in your fourth line. That's not too shabby. They're going to knock some people around, and they'll play responsibly defensively. Just you have one or two too many guys that do the same thing, which is better than last year when you had like 9 guys that all did the same thing.
You
have it very good.
You have a variety of options for Luke Richardson now.
So I know this was by design to let the young kids get more time in Rockford, and to prevent, another disastrous injury run. If you have some guys go down, you have legit NHL players already here, so you're not picking up the scrap heaps. But it's going to be a tough decision, because I think, if there was a way, I just really feel, and I have nothing, I don't have a source, I don't have anything, but I just have a feeling that if they could find a way to trade Ryan Donato before the season started, they would do it. But we'll see.
I mean, he's not the hardest guy to move. He's a
good guy.
Contract is affordable. He's a guy that can do a lot of things.
A good role player on a good team.
And he started last year on a top line.
Scored the first goal of the season and the last.
Yeah, I mean, I'm as we're sitting here talking, I'm writing down the lines, and so we've already agreed. Bedard, Teravainen, Bertuzzi, Dickinson, Foligno, Mikheyev. We said these are in no order. I'm just doing them. So then you got Kurashev, Hall, and Reichel.
Reichel / Athanasiou.
But Athanasiou has been consistently centering Maroon and Smith.
Right.
That's not a fourth.
So then that other guy, what do you do with him?
Yeah,
but at the same time, though, we like Bedard, obviously, and Tavo and Bertuzzi's upside, but and Kurashev, I guess, 50-point guy. But don't you want a little more scoring depth? I think Athanasiou has scored 20 goals several times. Looked good tonight. He's got that speed that I mean, I don't know how Maroon and Smith are going to keep up with him.
We saw the Athanasiou special tonight. Use his speed to blow by 2 defenders, and then nothing.
And then doesn't finish the chance. I mean, Anthony.
I'm just saying, would you rather walk away from Athanasiou or Donato? I think it's easier to walk away from Donato. Like, look, you got Joey Anderson, you got Landon Slaggert.
I think it's actually might be easier to move away from Athanasiou.
I think it's easier to trade Donato.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's easier to trade Donato for what he does and what he costs. But I'd much rather have a guy in Ryan Donato who you can play in any situation. He can play center or wing. And he seems like a guy that is willing to. He seems like a role acceptor, as what we were kind of heard from the veterans at the end of last season. Needing players like that, it feels like he's the kind of guy that's like that. And Athanasiou, like, he's really fast. He really is. It's amazing how fast he is. Like, how can you be that fast on skates? And then what else? I don't know. I think. The 20 goal season, it's a great thing to have in your back pocket, but somebody had to score those goals on that team.
He had a 30 goal season in Detroit too, and similar situation, 18-19. Again, another bad team.
Pre-pandemic, anything pre-pandemic. I don't know how much you put on it based off of time that's passed. I don't know. I think stylistically for what this team needs and where they need to go, I'd rather have a Donato than Athanasiou. But I agree, Athanasiou is harder to move.
But you have several Donati. You've got, you've got Landon Slaggert, you've got Joey Anderson, you've got Craig Smith, you've got Pat Maroon. Like, at some point, you need someone who can put the puck in the back of the net. And Athanasiou is not ideal, but if he's your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 scoring option, that's pretty good, right? Like, I just feel like the redundancy in the bottom 6 is what the problem is here. Like, and it's not a problem; it's a luxury. I guess it's probably a better way to put it. But it puts Luke in a conundrum. Like, okay, so Donato's on this team. Are you going to scratch Ryan Donato for Lucas Reichel? How can you look him in the eye?
No, I wouldn't
do that. So Lucas Reichel's sitting. Lucas Reichel's getting waived and potentially exposed. Like, this is the hard part. And when we talked about this offseason and looked at this roster, it's like there's kind of too much here. And again, maybe someone takes a puck in the foot tomorrow and the problem is solved. Let's hope not. And that's what they're protecting against. But there's just a lot of the same on here.
Yeah, these things seem to have a way of working out, though.
That's what Luke says.
We're going to wring our hands over who's playing on the 4th line, and then all of a sudden it's going to be like, oh, okay, well, that
problem solved.
Yep, we know how this is going. So, I don't know. They it's going to be some tough roster decisions, which is a good thing. Like last year, the year before, there wasn't any of this. There wasn't any of who would you rather have. It's just like, who do we have? They can. I don't know. Some guys are going to sit that don't want to sit, and then some guys are going to, here's the thing. If you don't want to sit, get in the lineup and make sure they can't take you out of the lineup.
Yeah.
That's the idea of having a deep team like this is like, once you get in there, you do everything you can to not come back out. And the competition internally is a good thing. And there was none of that the last 2 seasons.
Good point from Sarah here in the chat. Says Donato's about to have his first. Well, his wife is. He's not doing anything. Yes, the Donatos are about to have their first child. And Nice 14 says Donato about to have the dad buff.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is real. That's real.
Right.
Yeah, I'd much rather have new dad strength in the lineup than anything else. From a human standpoint of decision making, I feel like Kyle is pretty cognizant of that. And so being like, hey, Ryan, how do you feel like moving across the country with a 2-day-old baby? It's probably not his at the forefront of his mind.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm glad it's not my decision because it's tough. I sit here and I've been writing lines out all summer and it's like, ugh.
Well, we got 3 more preseason games to figure it out.
Yeah.
And it's opportunities for guys like Donato and it's I'm thankful that we're in a spot where, you know, the roster competition is coming down to, you know, which of these guys who probably should be in the NHL is playing to make it, rather than which young guy are we going to throw to the wolves because we need to fill out 12 forwards and 6 defensemen. Like I'm very happy to have these tough decisions through this preseason.
Mark, go ahead, Craig. Sorry.
I was going to say, in a year, we've gone from Ryan Donato top line winger to where can we play Ryan Donato on this team? That's a good thing.
It's an improvement.
Well, Mark brings up a good point about Athanasiou. Columbus has to get to the cap floor.
Yeah.
And that's 4.25 or 4.2 for Athanasiou, which is too much for him.
There.
But it helps them get there. As we've been talking about, depth scoring will be at a premium for them. They just signed James Van Riemsdyk, so we'll see. I mean, that could be something. That could be something the Hawks just say, look, future considerations, help us solve our problem here. You know what I mean? Like, because I mean, it's I don't think the team should get in the habit of helping teams when tragedy strikes, but like, how much is he realistically going to get back for Athanasiou anyway, especially at that salary? And if Columbus is willing to eat the entire thing, then okay, thank you.
Hey,
have him.
And Andreas Athanasiou is just made for the Columbus Blue Jackets. That is a match made in heaven. Like that guy, I'm shocked he hasn't been a Blue Jacket already in his career.
Well, he's going to have a big jersey collection when it's all said and done.
Yeah, he's been around.
I got to get another super chat here from Adrian. This $5 super chat basically started our Pat Maroon power play talk. So thank you for that, Adrian. New name, by the way. I haven't seen that name out here before. If I missed it, sorry. But if you're checking us out for the first time, we appreciate it, Adrian. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, it'll once we get to next weekend's games, the home game against the Wild on Friday, and then the game in Milwaukee against the Blues on Saturday to close out the preseason. I think that's when we'll finally get down to the final cuts, and we'll get an idea of what the NHL roster is really going to look like and who's fighting for those last spots. And we'll actually get an idea of what full NHL power play units are going to look like. And yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if someone like Nick Foligno or Pat Maroon were, on that second power play lineup, or even maybe a Craig Smith, who knows, to kind of play that around the net role. Because your top unit is most likely going to be Seth Jones with Bedard, Teravainen, Bertuzzi, and Hall in some formation. So it's that second line, that second unit that's probably going to be like Kurashev, Dickinson, Foligno, Smith, Maroon, maybe throw Mikheyev out there. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they put that together.
It's all very interesting because it's a lot to figure out in a short amount of time, and they'll do it. They have to. That's their job. All right, we told you about our tailgates coming up. We kind of quickly mentioned what it means to be a diehard here, but we want to take an opportunity to tell you specifically what it gets you. It's a yearly fee. You get access to all of our great written content. You get access to our members-only Discord, which in turn gives you first dibs on our Mailbag Monday shows that we do every week in the offseason and occasional weeks during the regular season. You get a free shirt or hat when you sign up. Mario's rocking a CHGO hat. I have one of the original CHGO shirts on. So you get one of those right off the hop. Every year you renew, you get another free shirt. And oh yeah, you get to save 20% for every item you buy at the All-City Network shop. And that includes all cities in the All-City Network: Denver, Dallas, Philly, Phoenix, all of them. They're all included with your discount. So that's a great deal. What else am I missing? There's a lot of perks. Events, 20% off all of our events. We have had internal meetings about our takeovers for the Hawks games this year, where we take a crew of Hawks fans, get some tickets. You'll save 20% on your Hawks takeover tickets. So
at least 2 this year.
At least 2. And oh, by the way, the Winter Classic is coming, and there's going to be something special around there. So if you've been waiting to become a diehard and you want to sync it up with hockey season, now is the time. Jump on board, become a diehard today. Go to allchgo.com. That's ALLCHGO.com and become a diehard. We would really appreciate your support. It helps keep us going. It keeps us afloat, and it keeps you as part of our community. And that's what we're really trying to build here, is a community of Chicago sports fans. So we would love you to be a diehard. Please consider it. And if you want to give it as a gift, that's an option too. allchgo.com. Okay, before we wrap up the show, we've got to reveal the 4th star of the game as voted by you, the Blackhawks fans. The nominees were Philipp Kurashev, Taylor Hall, and Peter Mrazek. Sarah, do the honors. Who is our 4th star of the night? It's Peter Mrazek.
Hey.
Get used to it.
31 of 34 St. Louis shots, many of them high danger. Couple sick glove saves from Peter Mrazek. So good for him. Congratulations, Peter Mrazek, on being the
back-to-back 4 stars goalies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was our 4-star in the first game? Do you guys remember?
It was Spellacy.
Okay, of
Yes,
course it was.
The legend of
Mania.
AJ Spellacy. Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Spellacy Mania.
All right, and now we have to get to the Hoosier Hawk winners, and it's not me.
Yes,
It's
we
not
had
me either.
oh, look at that. The big rig, 5 points
Big night.
from Pat Maroon. Vlasic, even though he didn't get any points, he still had 3.5 Hoosier Hawk points. A lot of shots, a lot of block shots, a couple of takeaways, and Jay's guy, Jay, -1 on the
my 2 hits were washed away by the -1.
Jay Bedard over here with the -1.
That's right.
Yeah.
The Bears went undefeated in the preseason too, Greg.
and
Just
they're
saying.
still winning the Super Bowl. What's your point?
Fair enough.
Yeah. Hey, I am the greatest preseason Hoosier Hawk player ever.
Nice.
Ever.
Put that on a trophy.
Yeah, Nashville would.
Nashville's gonna give me a banner, and I'm gonna raise it and salute it and proceed to get my ass kicked in the regular season.
Nice.
All right. Yes, that's what will happen. All right. You two are back Tuesday. I'm going to be off Tuesday. Sturgill Simpson's coming to town, and I'm not missing that. I missed it during COVID, and I was heartbroken. I said, F this, I'm buying tickets. And if they happen to schedule a preseason game that day, so be it. So I'm going to see Sturgill at the Salt Shed. Sorry, you guys can handle the preseason game.
All right,
Tuesday.
It's good to know where your priorities are, Jay.
They are. Yes, they are. Preseason hockey or Sturgill, who may retire at any moment. Yeah. Sturgill's a loose cannon, man. You don't know what he's thinking. He could just be like, I'm going to go live in outer space. Bye. Like Poochie.
Yes.
I'm taking the opportunity to see Sturgill, and I'm not apologizing.
No show on Monday. We're
Right.
off Monday. Though the Hawks will be practicing, so there'll be updates from practice. Tuesday game. And then we have Wednesday. Wednesday we have a show. Thursday, right? I don't know. I gotta look at the schedule.
We have shows Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
So yes.
Yeah. With
There we go.
Friday and Saturday being post games.
3 more post games next week, and then we're gonna.
Then we head to Utah.
Yes, we're gonna pre-record a prediction show to air while we're up.
It'll be live. It'll be live. It'll be a live show.
Be kind of hard to be live when we're in the air.
The magic of live television.
We should try it anyway. Do it from the plane with this shoddy Wi-Fi.
That Wi-Fi was super reliable on the way to.
I paid $8 to be told I can't connect to the internet instead of paying no dollars.
Well, we're flying a real airline this time, so maybe the Wi-Fi will work.
We'll see.
Maybe.
We'll see. All right. By the way, just a little bit of an update. Everything. I checked in with a non-Blackhawks source, just to be clear, a non-team source about the CHSN situation. And while the network launches on October 1st,
which is Tuesday,
I would think that from the perspective of carriage deals, their real target is October 11th, because that would be the first regular season Blackhawks game they would carry. So don't panic until then, if that makes you feel any better, because the first game against Utah is on ESPN.
Yes.
So you're going to see it there. It wouldn't be on CHSN anyway. Yeah, you're not going to see the first few preseason games unless you buy an antenna, have DirecTV or AT&T Uverse. Again, things can change in a moment, so we don't know. But I would say the drop dead for Hawks fans is that October 11th first televised regular season game. So keep an eye on that day. And if it doesn't happen by October 1st, don't completely freak out. And again, direct all complaints to Joe Brand.
Yeah.
Yes, it's his fault.
I'll put it in my calendar. October 11th, drop dead.
I could do it sooner than that. That's why I got to see Sturgill. You never know. All right, we'll talk to everybody on Tuesday right here on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.